crisis looks like. My midlife crisis. Or maybe not. Maybe somebody's. I don't know. What I wanted to cover on this video here are some of the things that can make a midlife crisis worse, or, you know, like intensify it. Different people will have a midlife crisis, but it's not always to the same degree. Or at least we don't always all have the same symptom anyway. Not everybody feels the need to run away, like I did. Not everybody feels the need to leave their spouse. Some of them stay with their spouse, poor spouse, and drag them along, take them for the ride. So not all of them end in a bad marriage. Not everybody throws away a career. We all have different symptoms. And I think, again, in varying degrees. So you can't judge one midlife crisis based on another. Well, I know, you know, my mother had a midlife crisis and this is the way my mother behaved and acted, so I know you're not having a midlife crisis. Well, you can't say that because it's different for everyone. Anyway, yeah, things that make a midlife crisis worse. This is from the ambiguous they, according to research. And so again, this is a list that I may subscribe to some of them, may not subscribe to others. I don't know. Again, share with us, what do you think? What do you think about this? So the first thing on the list that they say makes a midlife crisis worse or intensifies it is the personality type. That matters? I don't know. That's strange to me. Although I'm not a psychologist either, I haven't studied any of that stuff. Something like, you know, an avoidant personality, they might tend to experience a more intense midlife crisis, or maybe it lasts longer for those who have avoidant personalities. Personally, I think if it's come down to personality type, I've always been, you know, like a free spirit. Maybe it might be worse for those, just because I got it really damn bad, the midlife crisis, and I've always been a free spirit. So the feeling that I was going to be stuck, that I was going to suffocate, and drove me to do things that I've never done in my whole life. And I was scared. Jeez, it scared the bejesus out of me, the idea of jumping in a car and driving off in the distance, wherever. But the fear of what was going to happen to me if I stayed was bigger. Other thing that they say can intensify a midlife crisis or make a midlife crisis last longer is debt. Personally, I didn't have that situation, and I still don't, but I can see how that could make a midlife crisis worse, because on top of all these other things that are spinning around in your head, trying all this confusion, trying to figure it all out, and on top of that you have money issues too. Especially if you're somebody, you know, in your midlife crisis and you have this drive to walk off your job, flush down your career, and you've got debt and you can't, so then you can't do what would be true to you to do. And so I can definitely see that making it last longer or intensifying it. Another thing that they say can intensify a midlife crisis or make it last longer is the fear of aging. Not everybody fears aging, which I kind of don't understand. And I guess I don't understand that because I've always had a fear of getting old. So as far as that one goes, does that make it worse? I think so. I feel like if I didn't have that part, maybe things wouldn't have been so intense for me. They also say that somebody who has a history of depression or anxiety, that would make the midlife crisis more intense for them or last longer for them. And I'm just not so sure about that, because I know people who had a history of, at least on and off, some depression, some anxiety in their past, and they got to midlife and breezed right through it, didn't have a single problem. So to say that because you had these things in the past, it certainly isn't a cause, for sure. Not from what I've seen. To make it intensify, I don't know. Because I know for myself, the whole midlife crisis business, I don't think it caused any anxieties. I have a fear of aging. I openly admit that. It's not an anxiety. That's an outright fear. No point was I depressed. Sad? Yes. Flat? Yes. You know, disinterested? Yes. Disconnected? Yes. Depressed? No. And I don't know how to explain that, because somebody would say like, oh, well, all these things you're saying, yeah, that was depressed. No, it wasn't depressed. And they say another thing that will make a midlife crisis worse is dissatisfaction, or a deep dissatisfaction with some aspect of your personal life or your professional life. I can see that. What about you? I mean, I can see how that could make it worse. So you have all these other things that converge already, and you're already dissatisfied. Wow. I can see that making it worse, or making it last longer. Certainly I can see that making it worse. But for me personally, I don't feel like I was dissatisfied. I think it was after I hit the midlife crisis when I started feeling the dissatisfaction, or lack of. And then they say another thing that intensifies, you know, makes the midlife crisis worse is thoughts of pending death. I don't know, maybe. Like, I have a fear of aging, but I don't have a fear of dying, if that makes any sense to you. So thoughts of pending death for me does not make my midlife crisis worse at any point. I know for myself it's because of the way that I believe. You know, I'm just going to move fluidly from this existence to the next existence, and may or may not be aware of it. So for me, the thoughts of pending death does not make my midlife crisis worse at all. And since I don't fear that kind of thing or whatever, I can't imagine it making a midlife crisis worse. But I cannot say that it doesn't, because it's just an emotion I don't have. So I can't speak intelligently on it. If you have that, let us know. Do you think it makes your midlife crisis worse, more intense? Another thing that they say will intensify a midlife crisis is the decreased functioning of things in your physical body, like, you know, the eyes, or, you know, the sex drive, or, you know, strength, whatever. It's just, yeah, I can see where that could add to it. I mean, I don't know if it could cause it altogether in the first place, but I definitely see that adding to it. But at the same time, I think we end up obsessed about those kind of things, or stressed about them, because we had a midlife crisis. Maybe? I don't know. Tell me what your thoughts are down below. Share with us, please. So that's it for this video. The things that they say, researchers say, make a midlife crisis worse. Either more intense or last longer. So, you know, click like, throw comments in the comments section below. Tell me what you think about this stuff. Tell me what you think about the researchers. Click share the video, click subscribe, follow me along on this midlife crisis journey, and let's see if we survive.